Welcome, weary travelers, to what I'm going to call Brain Hugs. This is a series where we talk about mental health. This is Dr. Elena Sherwood. This is my first official guest, and this is actually my first official collaboration too. You're the first person I've had on the channel other than me. Welcome, everybody. Elena, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, first of all, I'm honored. I am a big fan of this account. Yay. I've been following her since she was trying to get those 1,000 followers, and I was just delighted by the stuff that she does. Yep. So I'm Dr. Elena Sherwood. I'm a relationship expert. I was a couples therapist for 35 years. That's a long time. I have also been married for 31 years, also a long time. And so the advice I give is based on I guess I should also mention the tiny little thing that I have a master's degree and PhD in couples. So I studied also couples. So where I was going with that is I never give advice that I wouldn't take myself. And it's kind of a big chicken before the egg. Is the advice I give based on what I've learned in the books, based on what I've learned in my practice inside of my clinic, or is it based on my own life and it's all a hot, delicious mess? That's sort of, it's kind of all in one. So yeah, that's me. I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, if there are any Canadian viewers here. And I have a lot of American friends as well in the various platforms I'm on, especially here in YouTube. So happy to be here.
Yay! I'm so glad you're here too. This is a series that I've always had a fascination for mental health and psychology. And I don't know if you know this, and for those of you watching who don't know this English, that I actually went to school at first for music therapy. I was on track to become a music therapist. But I just, along the way, it didn't feel right anymore. And more and more, my childhood dream of being here on YouTube was kind of like, hey, can we do that? And at first I was like, what, are you crazy? What do you mean? We can't make that happen. But yet here I am. So it's like, hey, anything you want to do, set your mind to it. You can make it happen. But just the fascination of mental health and how much it can affect a person and how they view the world, view themselves, especially as someone who has struggled with mental health as well. It's like it can really almost even change who you are, you know?
It changes everything. It is the flavor of your life. It is in everything you say, everything you do, the way you interpret everything that is before you. And one of the things I talk about a little bit, but I don't go into it too much. I have struggled with mental health myself.
Who hasn't?
Yeah. And in fact, that's why it was so big that I felt like I had to write a book about it, which is why that led to my first book. Because it was one of those, like, people often think, what's wrong with me? How did I become this way? But if you really look at your whole story, you will see that the little paths that led you, the little compiling of little experiences, that if you can see that, you say, oh, no wonder once in a while things are difficult. And so I believe that everybody has a really deep story that has shaped how we start to make sense of the world. And I think what I hurt for the most are the people who don't know they're struggling. And they don't want to know they're struggling because if they admitted that to themselves, they're scared of what the consequences will be, as in, will I completely decompose and become a useless human being who can no longer carry on in the life that I'm living now? I know that one too. And so that said, I think you hit it right there. It's like, if we do not know what we're thinking from, what our operating system is functioning with, we have basically, our lives are not our own.
Yeah, that, wow, so early, my voice is already going out. No, that's really true. I really like what you said about, what was it? Clearing my throat distracted me. Not even knowing, that's what it was. When you don't even know what you're struggling with, when you just push it so deep that you're not even aware of what's going on. I've experienced my own, my own personal versions of that, and it's crazy. Then once you're aware of it, it's like, how did I even function? How did I even function knowing, what was going on here? It's crazy. Yeah, you just look back like, how did I even live? I know I've had that thought, like, how did I even function with this going on in the background? But you just kind of learn to, if you're in an environment where you feel that you just need to push it down, you just don't think about it, don't, whatever. It can be pretty easy to do that, and then pretty easy to just ignore it until it finally, I like to call, I use this analogy a lot, like you shake up a soda bottle and then the pressure just builds and builds until it explodes, because I know growing up I experienced that a lot, that I would just keep everything bottled in, and then I would kind of explode every once in a while, and then I recycle, repeat. So it's taken a lot of time, a lot of effort to let things come to the surface, and to not feel like, this is okay to feel, not demonizing what we're feeling. Because I think that's something else we do too. We tend to go like, why am I like this? Right? That's one I do a lot. Why am I like this? It's like,
Well, and then there's also the sort of the more unfortunate side of that, is that we're mean to ourselves because we are like this.
Yeah.
It's not enough that you're suffering. Now you're punishing yourself by judging yourself for suffering, as if somehow you are not supposed to be a human who suffers, because we all do. And we all have feelings. But then now we add on this little coating of self-hate or self-deprecation and self-flogging. And then you have and I've seen people spiral right down into a deep depression with this.
Yep.
And then there's also the shame of, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I was that mean. I was that clueless. And so you could see how it goes back to how well if we know ourselves, we know that there's a lot of very beautiful things about us too, and who in the world is not worthy of forgiveness.
Yeah.
At least by ourselves anyway. Maybe we've wronged people, and maybe they don't ever want to forgive us, and that's completely, we can honor that. But do we really need to live a life of meanness?
Yeah, well, and arguably the most important person to forgive and love yourself is you. You are the person you're going to spend your entire life with. It's worth putting in some effort to be like, hey, what are the good things about me? What do I like about me? Because I know that's something I've struggled with. Just all the little different ways when you kind of get into the perfectionistic mindset, like I definitely did growing up, that I have to be this and this and this, and I have to be otherwise. And realizing now as an adult, it's like if I didn't accomplish those things, putting my worth onto external things, that would affect my worth. When the entire time that wasn't true, that my worth was there always. And that's true for everyone who's watching this. If you struggle with this, your worth has never gone away. Never.
It's never changed its value because it wasn't appreciated or seen. It's like you have this beautiful piece of art. If nobody sees it and it doesn't get any daylight, does it cease to be as beauty? I'm getting a little philosophical here, but the beauty and essence of something remains itself, regardless who is beholding it. I once did a little short, and I think I said, the only witness you need to the great things you're doing is you.
Yeah.
And I got this confused comment. Me? I said, yeah, you.
You got a lot of
Just
power.
you.
Yep. You have all the power
And
that you
kind
need.
of like a scratch head emoji. I didn't know that. And but it's true, right?
Absolutely. No, when we all have much more power within ourselves than we ever give ourselves credit for, like the ability to get through mental health struggles and whatever struggles in life. It's like, especially when we feel that we can't handle it, well, we can. One of my favorite quotes is like, you have survived 100% of whatever you've gone through. Because it's true. You mentioned your book. I did a review on that, if I'm thinking of the right one.
Yes, the first the Greatness Finds a Way, and that one
Yeah.
is a lot more readable than the next one. I only have
That
two, but the first one
nice.
is far more personal. And oh my goodness, the DMs I got on that one, and all of them beautiful, by the way.
Oh,
All of them saying, "Oh my goodness, I lived your exact life, different story, different color, different everything else." But it really touches on kind of, how a hurt child becomes a person, an adult who has all these flaws. So
yeah.
yeah, and yet the beauty is still there. It's just not beheld. Is that the right word? Beheld.
Beheld. I get what you mean. Behold, beheld.
Beholden.
English.
No, beheld, I think is the right one.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I personally really enjoyed that book. Everyone, go check out her book. Check out that video I made. It was pretty cool. All the plugs. Yeah, so the first official question I have is, as much as you feel that you can share, how are you doing? As much as you want to share, as much as you're comfortable.
You would be surprised in how powerful that question is.
Right? It's such a simple one, but it can,
videos people saying, never ask your friend, if your friend is depressed, never ask how they're doing. Again, are you kidding? That question has been so powerful in my own sessions. People have been reduced to tears just from one, and I almost did it right there, just for a minute. And I love that you asked. To be honest, life has a way of giving you all these kinds of ups and downs. And even when things are going really, really well, I find that the more you master your challenges, the more you have to conquer. It's like, oh, I got through this hill. What? That one? Oh, I got what? And it's an endless thing when you decide to. So all of that to say, in the life front, I have two adult sons and they're doing amazing, and I love them very much. But they're also now on their own in their own lives. And so, mama never stops being a mama. For all of you who are mamas, it's like, you can't birth this little thing and be responsible for its every breath and then decide, okay, bye.
So my mom's like, yes, I can hear her now.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't stop. I'll be 98 and my kids will be ancient themselves, and I'll still be like, did you drink water today? Did you have lunch?
Yep.
And so, as you know, the life as a creator has its own challenges. And so I am active on mostly two platforms. And when you commit to really growing your audience because you have a message to share, you also get a lot of undesirable responses.
Mm-hmm.
And so probably my biggest challenge has been to really thicken my skin. But before I could even do that, I think what we really have to do is just admit how damaging that can feel to us, even if it's just a very callous thing. And so the other part of that is, the harder part is to just be authentic about that and to do something about it. That's my way. Because whether people intend to bully, the effect is the same. I don't care if you're just having a bad day and you drop a comment that is unkind. And so I did actually create one on Instagram. Did I really just do that? It's staying up because it was authentic to me, about how I even used the Game of Thrones soundtrack.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
I needed to do that for myself, even if whoever it is who, the blockers are already blocked, the haters are already blocked, but I just needed to make that statement. So I think in everything requires a level of authenticity. And I find that when I don't do that, I suffer. And so it sort of, so does that even answer the question? It's been a little rough. It's been glorious, doing all kinds of helpful things. But sometimes I think I forget too how human I am and how much I need to practice what I preach in terms of rest and my own emotional care and all of those very important things that many of us sort of easily forget about.
Or put to the side, like, I don't need to do that. Or even for me, it's like, I don't want to do that. Like that really stubborn part of yourself comes out like, no, I can handle it. Right.
Superwoman, I'm superhuman. I can, and then you crash.
I don't need help. Yes, I do. Oh, you said so many good things there. The authenticity, because that word I've been trying to, manifest so much in my own life, doing everything as much as possible with authenticity, with what feels good to me, what feels good as I interact with others. Yeah, that is such one of those, like, it sounds really simple in concept, but then it's like you try to actually do it and it can be so hard.
And I think somebody asked me, what do I have to do to set these boundaries that I need? And I thought it really gets down to one thing. You just have to be okay with upsetting some people.
Ooh, that's so hard. It can be so hard. Well, because I consider myself, I look back on my past and everything, certain behaviors I've done. I've struggled with people pleasing. And something you said about being a creator, and sometimes you just kind of have to deal with people being unhappy with you. And I'm like, the panic, because it's that feeling of sort of that people pleaser mindset. If I make someone unhappy, it must be my fault. So I must have done something wrong, when it's like, no, I can only influence other people's thoughts, actions, feelings. That's the most I can do. At the end of the day, it's their choice, right? And, as we'll talk about during this session about mental health and how that can impact how a person thinks and feels, it's like a person can only show up for themselves and for other people as much as they are even able to be present, right? I don't know. I view even people who, say there is a person who really doesn't like me and it's over something I obviously can't control. Like, there are probably people out there that just don't like my face, right? It's like, I can't control that. It's my face or my voice or something. But yeah, even those people, it's interesting because I look at that like, okay, I wonder what's making you act like that though.
Yes, but I think we also do that to get away from the uncomfortable feeling of, hey, you hurt me with your dislike. Not because, like, I'm a person with feelings, and you may not have meant to be mean, or perhaps you did mean to be mean, or maybe you're just generally mean. I am still a recipient of what is around me, for which I can't control.
Yeah.
And so I think where we sometimes we have to not miss that step of saying, I got hurt.
Still prioritizing you.
Yeah, like your feelings first. Maybe your whatever it is, but whoa. Hey, I got hurt. I'm hurt. And then we got to take care of that. Now, many of us were in the space, oh my goodness, blah, everything's good. Yeah, we get rid of them. And then inside, ow, that was not nice.
Yeah.
I did not like that feeling. And so I think we need both, right? We need the armor around us. We need the key, but we also need to grieve a little bit of, okay, I know that I do my best. And if somebody has hurt me, yes, that's on them, but my feelings were still hurt.
I know
and that little hurtness a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that nuance really can be, it's crucial to have that, especially when it comes to actually, prioritizing your hurt feelings, right? Your experience, and how that's absolutely valid. That needs to be valid. It's so fascinating. Human beings, one of the things we want the most in this world, I think, is validation. It's fascinating. And people do things or they don't do things out of that. Because most of all, we want love and acceptance, right? We want a feeling of community, of feeling that we belong somewhere. So again, we do or don't do things out of that desire. But yeah, going back to, it's good that you point that out. And, that was even a little moment for me to peek out, like, yeah, it's interesting to think about, like, oh, what made them act that way? But also, don't let that completely disregard how we're feeling right now. It can be so hard, especially when you come from that sort of people-pleasing mindset.
Well, I would rather analyze somebody else than think about my pain.
Right? It's so much easier.
Yeah, in there. It's
Exactly.
pleasant. I would rather, let me figure out the puzzle that is you. No, how?
Yep. Yep. It's hard because it requires really, especially if you spend a lot of time putting a lot of, band-aids on, right? Just band-aid after band-aid. It's just like piece of art at this point. You have to open them up and then see what you have to do more surgically. It's like, okay, what's going on here? The wound has festered for a long time. Let's actually heal it.
She's gonna blow.
She's gonna blow. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna explode. It's crazy. This weird and wonderful world can impact us a lot, including especially our relationships with other people. It's like we don't live this life without being obviously impacted by that and shaping even who we are. And it does a lot. I just realized, like, back to the main question, but this is what's so cool about this format is like we ask one question and then we just talk and we just see what comes up. That's exactly how I want this to be. I just want it to be so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so totally makes sense that you have your ups and downs because that is what life is. It's not, and in fact, there can be a beauty in, obviously in the moment it doesn't feel very beautiful, but when you analyze the rougher moments, it makes the sweeter moments like all the more, like the good can't exist without the bad, right? And again, easier said than done, of course, because when we're in the bad parts, we're just like, this sucks. But it really helps put in perspective, I think, sometimes to be like, you know what, though? I am living life. Something I heard has stuck with me that if you go through the day, like feeling a variety of emotions, you're alive and it's like in a way that's a good thing. Especially when it comes to all kinds of different kinds of emotions, I think we all tend to, like this is something I learned trying to embody in my own journey is that negative emotions don't need to be demonized. Like we demonize negative emotions so much, like anger or sadness. We want to push it away when it's...
Well, and I think as humans, we forget that we were born and built biologically to feel the full range of them, not just the ones that everybody likes to talk about or pretend that they are. When I was working with someone, he says, Elena, got like serious PTSD here. I said, I have two emotions, anger and sadness. That's it. I have no happy. I have no confused. I have no interest. And then when you think about it, it's like events will force you to not feel anything else but that. Now he was a soldier, and he did a lot of, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, but he's an extreme. But then that's all of us too. Like everybody's trying to say, everybody, I'm excited. Look at this very pretty thing that brings me so much joy. That's what we believe everybody wants. Part of the people pleasing, but it's also more pleasant to be in that energy, as opposed to saying, wow, I really got crap on today by two or three people who I'm not even, and so people don't seem to like, or they seem to be confused or almost turned off that we exist and have a full range. I don't have that pillow here, but I did one because I had a man had DM'd me about comment, and he says, some of us don't even know what feelings we have. And so I actually bought one of those Amazon pillows with the whole. If anybody's ever curious, just go on Amazon and look for the feelings wheel or emotions wheel, and you'll see just how many there are. It's a whole thing with many, many layers. That's how complex we are. But I think if we can't allow ourselves to feel all of it, then the happy and joy that we feel, it's not of substance. Because if all of this is whatever, then this is dulled. You really have to allow yourself to feel all of it for any of it to be worth the depth that it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, like that idea of if you've gone through the day and you felt a variety of emotions, that shows that you are alive, and that's a good thing. Because I know for me, like learning in therapy, that was one of the things that really stuck with me is, you know, we demonize especially negative emotions. And just hearing it said like that just really clicked something in my head, like, oh, that's what I've been doing. Because it's like like anger or sadness is not a good, like necessarily a good or bad thing. It just is an emotion. It just is a thing. And you know, much like of the rest of life, it's what we make of it.
But when you think about some of the creators out there and the musicians out there and the poets out there and the authors out there, they are blooming because of their expression of and we love their music. We love the angry music and we love all the guitar and the drums and the yelling and the yes, like because I love watching people in their glory of expression, whatever emotion it is. Like, just show me.
100%. Yeah. I will go on to the next question, shift gears a little. What is a mental health feat or accomplishment that you are most proud of?
Oh, I love this question because it's deep. I knew, I saw that in you the whole time that I've been watching your account. She's got a lot more depth than sometimes that comes more often because you're also as funny as heck. Just so
Thank you.
entertaining.
I try.
So in terms of personal feat, I'm really proud of conquering my crap in time to be a really good mom. I thought I was doing it because I thought I was just losing my mind. I can't, this has to change. And so, but what I had not really thought about was the consequences of what those would have for my relationship with my children and how me sorting all of that out freed me to become approachable and kind. And I'll never forget a moment where I think it was my son who was quite a bit younger, and he was saying, "No, Mom, I'm really worried about her friend because her friend's really, really something." And I said, "Oh, you know," and he says, "Mom, remember how you used to be, where you were always right, and then, you know, remember a long time ago?" And I thought, I love that he could tell me. And I said, I try not to. Yes, because yeah, that's kind of how she is. Like, she doesn't recover. Like, she's just stuck in that. And like, oh, okay, good. And then I remember actually, I think I was still in therapy then. I remember bringing it up with my therapist. And she said, the beauty of children is when their parents get their crap together, kids will forgive anything if you own up to where you've been wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't even say that, but you just change thereafter. Kids have a way of almost forgetting or belittling. That's not as big a deal. So that's my biggest mental feat, is that I conquered my own demons and I stopped it there. This is not going down the line.
Breaking the cycle.
This is it.
Yeah.
I think I used that line in not trying to do a plug, but I did have a line where
plugs.
I said, what will motivate you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read this last.
Go for it.
Thing.
Everyone can see how good the book is. Oh.
I really want people to have this book. It's like $13. You see, when you decide to be with someone and you wholeheartedly commit to doing it right by truly holding yourself accountable, the results will surprise you. You find yourself able to do things you never thought you could. Like going back to school with 2 young children in tow, a day's drive away from your husband because it's the only way everyone can have what they need. Like embracing years of deep psychotherapy to slay your inner demons with It Stops With Me fervor. Like releasing a relationship book into the sea of millions to swim amongst the biggest names and sharing your pain with the whole world because you just know that they don't have to suffer the way you did, not if they do things differently. But it's that it stops with me. And I really wish people understood how much we hand down by not healing our own wounds. And that is not any kind of shaming or blaming or accusing. It's just we are human and we pass stuff down without knowing. I was doing it and I didn't even know it. And thankfully, I was able to turn that around just in time for the teen years when kids actually listen to your logic and care about what you're trying to say, because they're really fishing. Like, should I believe you or not? Are you lying to me? I can tell if you're lying to me. I can tell if you're full of BS.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
So
really great.
That as an answer to your question.
That is a fantastic answer. And I think that is such a profound, real things within the generations, especially. And like you said, how we pass things down. And when you come to awareness of what's going on and trying to sit down and choose, I'm not going to do this anymore. I need some water. My voice is breaking again. Got a bit of raspiness. Fun. Some ASMR for the viewers. I really like that, because that is so true. Well, and even not only generationally, but also just living our day-to-day life. And of course, taking what we've learned, because that's the thing with behaviors like that. It's learned from somewhere. Yeah.
Maybe, people, there's actually a chapter there where I say, we got to talk about your story. And I did, because people will say, well, my parents, I'm not going to blame my parents. This isn't about blame. This is about understanding. I wasn't abused or anything. My parents weren't alcoholics. We weren't homeless. The things that you think affect how you become are not always what you think. Affect how you become.
Yeah.
Because if that were the case, then everybody who makes over $1 million should live happily, and there's no divorce for them, and there's no estrangement of their children, and there's no broken relationships of any kind. And they're just, no.
Yeah.
Except that we all have our stories, and our parents have their stories. And we don't know have you ever heard that song? It's by Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young. Teach Your Children Well.
I feel like I recognize the name. I don't remember what it sounds like, though.
Listen to it several times. It's worth listening. And it's Teach Your Children Well. And there's a line there where it says, don't you ever ask them why. Because if they told you, you would cry.
Mm.
And so listen and sigh and know they love you. It's a really... Let me know after you
beautiful lyric.
Listen to the original. I don't think it's been redone.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or if it's after Young left, Neil Young.
Right.
Anyway,
I'll check it out.
It's a really good song, and I invite anybody who's listening to listen to that song as an offspring and as a parent. It changes every time you listen to it. But don't listen to too much, though. You can
exactly. You want to enjoy it. Every couple minutes, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm recording a video. The whole purpose of this. Hi, everybody. Have you been here the whole time? No, I love that. Well, and you said the word shame, and that reminded me of we were talking about that a minute ago, that shame is so prevalent in why people do certain unhelpful behaviors, especially when it comes to avoiding shame. If you come from like a people pleaser kind of mindset, you do certain things to avoid that, and shame is just it's unfortunately very prevalent in, just life, right? That, and it's hard too, because it's like there is especially when you have a desire to change something about your life, there is that feeling of like, I'm not happy with this, or your relationship with someone else. Like, I am not happy with this, and doing your best to communicate that and bring about change. But like you said, it's not about trying to perpetuate shame. At least that's what the intention is. But that can be hard to keep in mind, right? Because especially if you're particularly hard on yourself, you feel like, well, I have to be ashamed of myself. It's like, but do you though? Are we capable of making that change without being horrendously mean to ourselves? Because it's totally valid to say, I'm not happy with X. So what can I do to change it out of love for myself and other people? Because that's really what the root of that is that we all want good lives. I'd like to think, right? Good lives for ourselves and each other. When you're able to be in that mindset of wanting genuine happiness and everything for as many as possible, including yourself, hopefully. So yeah, bringing the effort to, like, this is not kind of like shame and blame. It's like, it's not helpful to bring the focus to that, to be like, oh, this person or I am like to blame for this. And it's like, because there's a difference between that and taking accountability. Taking accountability is good, especially if it's if you are taking accountability for something you messed up in towards yourself or towards another person. And it's like, yeah, sometimes you mess up, you are human, and that's okay. So let's do something else.
I got a very, I wouldn't call it mean, but I was trying to say something about taking, what is our role in this problem? And then the comment was something like, how dare you shame us into self-blame? And then I had to respond to that. I had to, because again, it really upset me. But again, I am not in the habit of upsetting, of leaving things. And there was something very inaccurate about that. So I actually responded to that saying, we have to make sure we are doing what we are demanding other people to do for themselves. We have to, we're demanding for our partners and our families and our friends to hold themselves accountable. Why shouldn't we? And I had to let that go. But I also know that some people there's just so much pain in their lives, that there's all kinds of pockets of hurt that they leave and they don't know they're leaving it.
Yeah.
But I think that I get a lot of flack because the angle that I go, as you know, as a relationship is I don't give a crap I care how awful your husband is or how awful your wife is. Yes, that matters. I'm not serving you if I'm not showing you what you can do for yourself, because I can give you all the books to analyze them. You're no further. Well, she's so mean. What are you still doing there? What do we need to do to get you out of there? Like, is that the angle we need to go? Or just kind of this kind of blame? Okay, whoa, let's slow it down. What are you allowing into your life? What are you allowing yourself to become? What are you allowing how are you allowing people to treat you? And I've lost, I'm sure, a lot of followers who they're just in so much pain that the only solution that they're feeling at the time is that somebody must be at fault here. And I respect that there are plenty of places in the world that they can go to feed that. It won't be from me, because I'm, like you said, I'm really all about what's my role in this. Am I really this powerless? Am I? No.
Yeah. Again, we have much more power than we think we do. And that is such a poignant. I don't know how to say that word. That word, poignant. I think that's how you say it. What do we choose to allow in, including, how are we allowing people to treat us? I think that is so true. And especially like, again, from like a people pleaser background, it's almost like the default that it's like, oh yeah, like you just kind of allow whatever to happen. It's like, oh, the other person must always be right. If something's wrong, I must be the one who's wrong. In fact, something else I learned in therapy that really stuck with me is that when you are in like a people pleaser mindset and you try to get people to like not be upset with you, things like that, it can turn into, even though this isn't the intention, the impact can be that you are not allowing them to experience their own emotions. That was like, oh, that's not what I want. I want the people in my life and anyone to be able to experience their own life, to experience all their highs and lows, like essentially allow them to be human. So that really stuck with me. In fact, that's kind of helped me to be like, no, I want them to experience their life. Why would I take that away from them? And that includes, how they view me, how they view life and themselves and everything like that. So it's, that matter of choice. And sometimes there are definitely lots of times where you feel like you don't have a choice, but you do. You have much more choice than you think you do. Looking at you, audience, if you think that way, you have so much more power than you think. I think that's so poignant. And it's like another one of those things where it like makes sense, right, out loud, but then trying to actually put into practice can be so challenging.
It is. And it's tough because sometimes even with, I do a lot of lists I don't do it as much on YouTube because that's mostly text on screen kind of stuff on Instagram. I am giving people the things to say.
Yeah.
I've made up the sentences. I've answered the questions that you can, these are the things you can say to your partner. But even then, there's still a lot of resistance. And there's still a, but I can't. But what if? But he won't, or she won't.
The what ifs.
Never, and all of that. And I don't know how to say, I can't make you fight for yourself. I want for you to fight for yourself. I want for you to say, this is what I want in my life, because this is what I deserve. This is what I think everybody deserves. Yeah. And so I like also what you said about kind of being accountable for how we behave and how we're affecting the people who love us. And are we being kind to them just because, we're kind of maybe a little bit wrapped up in what it is we're experiencing. But, here we are, was I just kind? Like, my husband's had to tell me the kind of, can you not yell? I'm not yelling.
Yes, I am. Oops. No, it's another one of those things with nuance. Both can exist at once. It can both exist that you are struggling. Absolutely. Don't take that away from yourself. And it also exists that you are accountable for how you show up to the table and how you treat others. And, well, especially within relationships, as you have expertise in this, it's like it's a two-way street. Everyone has that responsibility. When it comes to the mindset of like, oh, what do I allow in? At the same time, you shouldn't allow people to do whatever they want, because you should also encourage accountability on their part, especially if they do hurt you in some way. But that's another one of those things. It takes that balance. Life is the greatest balancing act ever. We have to balance so many things. It's crazy.
It's the biggest dichotomy. It's the biggest opposites that exist. Yes, I'm so powerless over how you're gonna, but I am so powerful about how I will behave, how well I would act, and how well I will interpret and say my words. I am so vulnerable because this hurt. I am so resilient. We've survived 100% of all of our hardships.
Yep.
Like, we get convinced on the one, but then people think, if you're so far, I am so resilient, I am so powerful, then people will judge you for being maybe a little overblown on yourself. Maybe you're thinking a little too much of yourself. Mm-hmm. Just goes to show you will be judged no matter what. But then some people will judge themselves. I can't say that. I can't shine. I can't stand tall and be whatever. I can't. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can. And you should, because you should embrace all of the beautiful, messy, everything about yourself, because there's so much more, as I'm trying to learn with myself, there is so much beauty within ourselves. And I think, actually, this could lead into a good question. I like to generally think that there is good in everybody, for the most part. And mental health can greatly impact that, of course. Kind of like we said at the beginning, based on like what I've experienced in my own life and observing others, it can even kind of change who you are for a little while. But at people's core, I'd like to think that most people are good. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that some people are just bad?
I think the way I would phrase it, so it was really helpful to me to do a stint in the actual mental health, like the really diagnosable, medicated psychiatry within the hospital. Like I did one of those.
That's
and
cool.
So I learned a lot more about what I wouldn't normally see in the other counseling therapy jobs I've had. And so there are some people who are chemically unwell.
Yeah.
And if they're not taking care of themselves, if they're not following up on their proper care, if they're not taking their medication, or if they're not in an environment that thrives, they are very, very, very painful to be around, and they cause a lot of hurt. That said, even them, whatever is going, I really do believe, like, I could not have survived 35 years in the work that I was doing if I didn't really believe that somewhere in there, in this person in front of me, is the good that I really want to reach. The whole person in this, the authentic part, the part that has not probably been heard a lot in their lives, but the part that is really just in the end, I'm just really somebody who's been hurt a lot, and I'm scared of the world, because I was really, really nice and other people took advantage of me. Or the people who were in a position to take very, very good care of me failed in some very important ways. So whatever it is, but I really do believe that at the core of everyone, with very, very, very few exceptions, I think that's there. And I think we will all do well as humans to embody that as we meet people who are having a bad day, people who are, but I mean, like I said, don't allow crap into your life, and stand up for yourself and make Game of
Boundaries.
Thrones themed videos wearing your coveralls saying, okay, no more crap. Like do what you have to do to take care of this in your heart and to stand up for yourself. But also, once you've done that, is to be mindful that in everyone exists this strong desire that they just want to be happy, and they just want to feel peace, and they just want to feel loved, either by themselves or by somebody or a great many people, mostly by themselves. They just really want to like who they are. They want to love being themselves. Yeah. So does that answer it?
Yeah, and it's, this is something, and part of why I'm really interested in asking this question. And what's cool about the series is I'm pretty much going to ask really similar questions with every guest I have, and I think I'll get, little different answers, which will be really interesting. But this question in particular, I think I'm so fascinated to ask, because it's kind of like that forever question that we've had forever, I said forever twice. That question we've had in humanity forever of, are humans inherently good or bad? I feel like I lean more to the side. In this case, I so happen to agree with you. I think at their core, people want to be good, that they want to be loved and be the best versions of themselves. And things like poor mental health and bad things that can just happen in life can stifle that. And, and you see that. And, this is the thing, that you see people who make you upset, right? That you see them and they make you so angry. And it's like, you even kind of hate them a little at times, right? But it's like, I have those moments, and I myself, I try, I'm not always successful, right? But I try to catch myself and go like, well, they are still a human being, right? They're probably struggling with something pretty profound to be acting like that. I try to have that mindset, but yeah, it's that question of, are people inherently good?
I think what really helps me is I remember that every human being was once a newborn baby.
Was once a child.
That was so fragile. And needed a lot of the world, and whether it got it or not, and whether it, whatever, we have to just kind of remember. I'm sure you've seen babies and probably held newborns or little children, and you kind of see how moldable and fragile we are at that age. And so that's kind of kept me a little bit like, you were once a newborn baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is something as I go through my journey, I try to remember towards myself is my inner child, right? Everyone has that inner child that just wants to be happy, to have peace, to feel love and acceptance, to feel that community and everything like that. Yeah, all the more reason, I think, to advocate for mental health services, for destigmatizing it, right? Because there's still plenty of work to be done. So much progress has been made, absolutely, but it's definitely still need to advocate for it, because for a lot of people, it's still really, really difficult to access, whether in the literal resources themselves, or just even the idea of, how can I even begin to seek mental health? How can I even begin to even feel what I'm feeling? Because those feelings can be scary, and we'd rather not feel them.
I think the other thing that I want to mention too, if there's anybody who's kind of watching and saying, yeah, easy to say, there are no mental health services where I am, and that's all. There's also something very good and therapeutic that happens when we simply surround ourselves with good, kind humans. Like, even if that might not get to the very, very core, but there are some people that I can't ever see them going to therapy and making good use of it and really learning insightfully that way, except they learn through the things that they conquer and they learn through different experiences. And so I'm a huge advocate for mental health. Always feel free to shop around, because you will find there are many duds out there where you think, I don't know which one of us is in more trouble here.
Yeah.
I've seen them, I've met them, they've scared me. But what I'm saying is, do something that is going to be good for you, that serves your whole being, and all of these little things count.
Well, and even the little things, like, the really simple things. I remember making a TikTok, and I shared it everywhere. It's like, hey, drink some water, say something nice to yourself. But those basic needs of, like, drink some water, make sure you eat, get enough sleep, throw in a little exercise in there. It's like taking care of those basic needs can really, I think, do a lot, because I'll notice moments in my life where I'm like, wow, life isn't so bad when you eat. Sometimes you're just really cranky. So it's even things like that. And like you said, reaching out to your community, trying to surround yourself with good, kind people who are going to be there for you. And most of all, because I know I've learned this within myself, trying to cultivate that safe space within yourself, that can be so hard. And I'd say the main way I'd suggest doing that is try to get curious. When a feeling is coming up, go, why is this happening? Do your best to take shame out of it, because I think that's the biggest thing. I know for me, it's like I'm having the feeling and then I'm tagging on shame right on top of it. My own little misery cake. All the layers of horribleness. As much as you feel that you can, try to get curious. Try to have, like, my 2 C's, the curiosity and compassion. Those 2 are huge in trying to analyze what you're feeling in a non-judgmental way. Do your best to cultivate that safe space within yourself. And don't discount moments where you try and maybe you fail a little. It's okay. Try again next time. Because it takes practice. I know it has for me.
I hear you. It's people preach it all the time, but I mean, sometimes I can. One of the things I use, name the feeling. What if you had to put a name to this feeling? It's off.
Yeah.
It's not. Well, okay. I guess that's angry. Okay, no, and here's something else in case anybody is curious. You cannot be angry unless you have been hurt first. Even if that's like a very, very quick nanosecond, but you need hurt first before there to be any kind of anger.
Oh, that's hitting me, because like that is so true. Like, hearing that and kind of going like, oh wait, it's not always all my fault. Because that's something I've experienced. It's like, oh, it always must be my fault, and not even that it's for the purpose of like, whose fault is it? It's just, where did this come from?
It's like that tiny little. So get good at that tiny little thing.
Good reminder.
That changes everything.
That's such a good reminder, because the way it hit me just now, it's like, oh, I guess I need to hear that a little bit. Woof.
I need reminders all the time.
Exactly. We all do, and that's okay.
When it causes bad mood, why? Well, clearly I have all these hurt feelings I'm not paying attention to. Okay, scale back. What are those about? And then I know for me, and I tell everybody this because I really believe the most convenient and least expensive therapy there is journaling.
Oh, yes. I love journaling.
Do nothing else but just ramble. And, I purposely got myself a nice keyboard where I like the sound of it, but just gibberish, whatever, QWERTY your way through whatever, and just do that until, okay, well, what? And eventually the better you get better at it. What am I feeling? What is this feeling? Why? Okay. Why is it there?
Yeah.
If you even just I'm just going to name that one feeling. And if you need one of those pillows or one of those charts, you don't have to spend a penny. Google it, check it out, and just kind of screenshot it. Yes. and look for the little things. But if you could put a word on it, there's and I've seen people that, what is it? Hurt. I'm hurt. It's like the big,
Yup.
you sad. I am so sad. And then comes the tissue. And then, but that, yeah, well, it's like exactly like when you're trying to name something. What's that word? What's that? What was that song? What was the title of that? Whatever. It's like, it's that. It's like, whoa, that came from something, some other place that I don't usually, whew, whew.
That came from somewhere deep. I have experienced that plenty of times. Yeah, well, journaling. I love journaling. I can't tell you the amount of times where I would like write in all caps and just so fast. There are some like angry journaling sessions in there, but that's the thing. That's what it's great for. And like you said, I think that's a good approach. That's the approach I take. You just write whatever. Don't think too hard about it. Just write whatever comes to mind. And I think you'd surprise yourself at how quickly how honest you'll be. Because that's such a place where you can just, it's a journal. It's nothing. It's just a book. It's nothing. It's not going to judge you, It's a book. Or typing or, whatever helps. There are definitely times where I just like talk to myself, Because in that effort of like trying to cultivate a safe space for myself too, I'll even do physical things like I'll put my hands on my heart, like I'm here,
I'm putting a hand over my heart.
I know, or like hug myself, just like to physically like say I am here for you, like to yourself.
So
And that's what I try to do because a lot of my life I just didn't have the tools to do that, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to that because I think when it comes to processing what you've been through, what you're going through, I think a huge difference can be made if you can just do what you can to show up for yourself and as non-judgmentally as possible. A thought came up, just cry. When you need to cry, just cry.
I want to start a crying club. I don't even know how a person does this, but it's like, for a while I was really into, I have a cricket, whatever it's called, and I was actually making handkerchiefs that I was going to give away.
Aww.
And the title was the little thing that says, may you laugh until you cry and cry until you laugh. Because I really think that everybody should laugh until they cry and cry until they laugh. And I thought, how does one start a crying club? It would be free, like come and cry or get as close to tears as, because some people, I never cry. I worry about them. I understand, but no judgment here. But I really think that we should all allow ourselves a really, really good cry.
Agreed. Well, and in a space that, of course, you feel safe and comfortable, just cry. It's okay. Because I know me, like, this is such a big thing for me because I used to hate crying. Hated it. I hated crying. But now I think those feelings probably still slip in because of course they do. Like that doesn't just go away. But I think my relationship with crying has greatly improved. And part of that is just like, just let it happen because it's funny because, you ever notice after you cry, you feel a little more sane. You feel a little better. It's released.
Conquer the world after.
Yeah, especially if you can find a moment where like after you cry, you just laugh. And you just laugh and laugh and laugh because it's just like, man, even laugh about what you just cried about because sometimes it's just funny, It's like, oh, why did I worry so much about that kind of thing? Because sometimes you overthink, So I think that's one of my biggest pieces of advice. Just cry. Just let yourself cry. Well, and, and whatever emotion, sadness, anger, sometimes I cry angry, because your body is needing to release it. Or something else that my husband and I will do a lot is like, we'll just like the couch behind me, just hit it with a pillow, just get it out. If you're angry, there are healthy outlets to get those really intense emotions out, whether by crying or like, this is actually something I learned in music therapy because, for those of you who don't know, music therapy is musical interventions for non-musical needs. That's like the main like definition. So like, for example, if you're really angry, you just like want to hit something, go bang on a drum. just go ham on
I
it.
see what you mean.
Stuff like that. And like in a music therapy session, generally it's like, oh, you come in, like you're feeling these really intense emotions and you bang on a drum and then you kind of process it afterwards. Because again, same with like crying. You ever notice how after you cry, you can just think about things a little better because that energy has been released. It's been taken out of your body. Exercise is a big one for me too, especially if I'm mad. I do weightlifting, which is perfect for that. Sometimes you just want to get it out, like cry, go for a run, smack the heck out of a drum. There are really cool ways, or journal, just get it out. Or like, going along with the theme of music, turn on some music that is like aggressive, There's something really to be said about that because music really affects how we feel, or it can like amplify how we feel. And I think that's one of the biggest things in mental health is we tend to stifle that part of ourselves, especially the negative parts, because generally, like when you're out in society and everything, it's like, oh, we don't want to see that. Like, and it's like, sure, within reason, it's like, I don't want to say it, doing it in a way that's appropriate, both like for yourselves and other people. I think there is something to be said about that, but saying that is not invalidating the need, right?
Yes.
Like time, kind of like time and place kind of thing for both yourselves and others. I think there's absolutely time and a place. Like when I said, like, just let yourself cry in a place where you feel safe and secure, because I mean, honestly, like when I'm out in public, I don't feel comfortable to just start crying. No way. I'm not comfortable with that.
I was once in a meeting with, it was almost an all male room. And they were really nothing against men, all of you, but it was just very staunch, old school thinking about something.
Right.
And I was the only one and nobody could hear me. I don't even think I was allowed to really talk. And I had to sit myself down and say, you're not going to cry. I was so furious. I was on the verge of tears. And so I said, okay, not the time and a place, Elena. And so eventually I just smartened up and removed myself from the room. Why didn't I think of that earlier?
So you could do that. You could just leave. Yeah.
But then I thought, okay, when I got close to tears, because I was so furious, I just removed myself and let them talk amongst themselves because it was clear they were not letting some little Asian woman who has a degree in social work. That can't be anywhere near our higher level of whatever.
That is important.
So anyway, it was one of those, like I was so mad. I was this close. And I thought, yeah, because that would make it even better. Because now they're really going to listen to me. I doubt it. It's one of those that, oh, that was a very powerful emotion I felt. Like I felt like one of those cartoon characters, where the heads
it's like steaming.
Like smoke coming out of my ears.
I could cook an egg on my head right now. Moments like that are so good for like taking a pause as much as you can and remind yourself, this feeling is valid. Let's process this in an appropriate environment. But, still saying like, hey, like I'm feeling anger right now. That's okay because this is making me angry. My feelings are valid. Just whenever we feel. There would not
have been any point for me to say,
yeah,
right now you are all whatever. Like it was like taco brick wall would give me a better response.
I know.
And so it wasn't, believe it or not, my days in that job were numbered because I'm starting to rethink whether this is a very good environment for me as a human, no matter what. And, and so it was just one of those that I thought, okay, but time and place.
Time and place.
I don't know what I said. Oh, I don't even think anybody heard my little my excuse.
Excuse me.
Look at the time.
You're like, I'm just gonna bye everybody. As your eyes twitching, you're leaving.
I have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So time and place. Yes.
No, I think it's important to keep that in mind. But that you use the word noticing. Like this is part of like what I try to do when I'm noticing like an intense emotion coming up or, a particularly like negative emotion. Because we can have intense happy emotions like, oh, everything's great. But, particularly the intense negative. Part of that, what I said before, curiosity and compassion. Part of that is noticing, just trying to like notice like, I'm feeling this. Interesting. And trying to approach it with an air of me, I am holding the space for you. You are safe with me. But yeah, just noticing like, that's interesting that that's coming up. I wonder why I'm feeling that way, and trying to like be open to it, be open to the whole process, the sort of like bell curve of, or, even when it goes up and down, because I know that happens for me, but, of like noticing it, maybe the feelings get intense as you're trying to figure out what's going on, and it can go all over the place, and that's okay. That's part of the process too. I really think a lot of good can be done for just people if we can all have more curiosity and compassion for ourselves. I feel like I lean to the side of, I think it's cheesy to put it this way, but can the world be a better place if people took care of their mental health? And I really think so, because of a statement I thought one time: secure people don't hurt others. If you're feeling security within yourself, again, with that curiosity and compassion, sort of accepting all of the parts of yourselves, that would generate that that security, that safety with yourself. And the more that it essentially like love for yourself. And I really think the more everyone can do that for themselves, the world could be better, because secure people don't hurt people. I really think so.
And secure people really like being themselves.
Yes.
They have nothing to prove to anyone. They have nothing to whatever. It's my dog is she's a shepherd Doberman cross. Anyway, when we walk, there are dogs that bark at her. They always did.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's a sort of a dark color, and I look at her, and it's like she doesn't hear them. Like she's just walking like they don't exist.
That's so funny.
She's just doing her thing. There's dog barking there, dog barking there. And I look at her like, what's your secret, Cougar? What's your secret? What do you? But she's just kind of steady. And I thought, I want to be her.
Just vibing. Yeah. Living life.
She's like, hi, Mama. That keeps going.
You're like, man, what's going on in your head that is just allowing you to be so chill? Yeah, I'm looking at my other questions here. I think this one I have would be a really good way to kind of wrap up, I think. So yeah, I'll just ask this and we can kind of like wrap up. What is your favorite piece of mental health like advice, whether your own or one you've heard, whatever, just your favorite, something that you just love? Okay,
so I'm just going to say it. It's something I have to tell myself. And I suspect if I have to tell myself this, just about every human out there must need to tell themselves this.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm stuck, I have to remind myself I'm not dumb.
That's so true.
I'm trying to learn Da Vinci. I'm trying to learn a thing. I'm trying to learn how to use my phone on whatever mode. I'm trying to whatever. And I'm trying to understand what this person said in the thing. And I have to it's kind of a way to not beat myself up.
Yeah.
But it's also a way to be kind of like you said, oh, maybe you're tired. Maybe you're hungry.
Maybe I'm hungry.
Maybe you're, but it's like, I have to actually say, okay, Elena, you are not dumb. You might be tired. And you might be maybe you've tackled too many challenges today.
You might need a nap.
You might need a nap or a snack. Or maybe I'm cold, or maybe I'm hot, maybe I need whatever. And so I invite everybody to use that advice. If you are one who gets very frustrated with yourself when you're trying to learn something and then you're beating yourself, remind yourself that you are not dumb. You are probably tired, hungry, cold, exhausted, or maybe you're distracted because you're thinking about so many other things. But the last thing you are is dumb.
You're not dumb. You're just a person doing their best. It's okay.
Yes. And some things are really hard and they're not made for everyday people to just pick up.
Seriously. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you the amount of times where I'll be feeling really like upset with myself and I'll just say like, I feel so stupid. And my husband is sweet and I'll just be like, you're not stupid. Like, I know I'm not. I just feel it so much right now. Because that's the thing. Like, if you are in kind of that mindset, it's just so easy to be like, I just feel like I am stupid. It's like, you are not. This is stupid, but you are not.
Whoever gave the instructions for this is dumb. I mean,
yes, exactly. No, I love that. That is so That's both like so like comforting, but also just funny. It's just like, yeah, I'm not dumb. I really like
Or I'm
that.
not stupid, whichever one word is the one you use more, but mine is like, okay, Elena, you're not dumb.
You're not. You're just doing your best.
I saw a little thing where there's a girl, she's trying to kick the soccer ball and she keeps missing.
Yeah.
And then she walks on and she does all these backflips and somersaults. And somebody says, it's not that you're dumb. You're just in the wrong place.
Go to gymnastics. Jeez. No, I like that. I'll add my own little spin to it. The remix that like the situation may feel dumb, but you are not. It's okay. It's okay.
Yes. Go have a snack. Chocolate fixes many things.
Man, that's like our inner toddler coming out. Just like, I need a snack. I need a nap.
I need somebody to take me away from this and say, okay, Elena, you've done enough today.
Yep.
Here's a couch. Here's a blanket.
Here's a juice box. Here. Sometimes our inner child is just.
Can I have a cookie? Yeah.
Can I have a cookie? Yes. I definitely subscribe to like we have our inner children, and as we go through our mental health, sometimes those parts of our inner child gets wounded along the way. And not that it's necessarily saying this isn't necessarily trying to assign like fault, right? Like who necessarily to blame, but like to make sense of it. The purpose isn't to assign fault, but just to like, oh, that's why I'm like this. That makes sense. Because I know I'm a kind of person where it's like, I want to understand why something is happening, especially these days as I'm really like have made my own strides in mental health and like really analyzing, why am I like this? What's going on here? And trying not to say that in such an antagonistic way as I have in the past, but genuinely like, why am I like this? What's happening here? And I really think the more we can be open to asking that question, taking those naps and juice boxes as we need, take care of those basic needs too. Like, I think there's something to be said about all of that too. Like, that can greatly affect how we're feeling as well. So do your best to take care of those basic needs, but also just once that baseline's taken care of, then do your best to be open to like, what am I feeling? And what are the possible reasons why I'm feeling this way? Again, we give ourselves so little credit for having that power to figure out what's going on and to show up for ourselves. And I think it's just another thing. I think the more we can do that, the more we can find security within ourselves, and the more we can like ourselves, and then we can show up appropriately for the other people in our lives, whether it's within our community or the international community and beyond. Because these days we have so much more access to our international community, and it's really cool. The key is liking ourselves.
Yes, that kindness, of course. And I think the other thing that I have to always remember myself too is like, I'm not going to be around forever. I'm in perfect health right now, but it's like, okay, I want to make sure that when I leave this planet, I have left it better.
Yeah. And for like the future generations and everything, I feel that way too. Thinking of that bigger picture. That, I think, is all I have. Thank you so much.
It has been a pleasure.
Really
Amanda. I will welcome another invitation back at some point when you feel like, okay, So I'm very honored to be your first guest.
Yeah, thank you, Elena.
It's been a fun time here. Thank you.
It really has. This has been so good. This is exactly what I was hoping would become out of Brain Hugs. This is the official name that I think it's like sometimes our brain just needs a hug, So yeah, everybody, thanks for being here. Sometimes I forgot you were here. Hi. The whole purpose of what I'm doing. Yeah, so go check out Dr. Elena Sherwood. You want to plug your Instagram and handles and everything. You might have different names and stuff, and I can also like link them in the description and everything, but if you want to say, what that is.
I'm pretty much Dr. Elena Sherwood on all platforms. So you're like, oh, there's that same face again. Oh my goodness, she's on Google now too. She's got it, whatever.
She's everywhere.
It'll be hard pressed to avoid me.
Can't escape.
what I also do is love to hear about is if people have any relationship questions that I can create some content around, especially you too, Amanda, or anybody you know. I am always looking for good content that's relatable, that is being experienced by people at present. And I will do a little plug. I will at some point get my my course together on the silent treatment.
Ooh, that's a big one.
But it's more like how complex it is and how it doesn't really need to be. And more importantly, what you can do about it when you're in it, whether you're the person who gives the silent treatment because this is what you feel you have to, or if you're the person on the receiving end. And sometimes people don't understand that they are actually both.
That can happen too. Absolutely. People are complex. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this was awesome. But yeah, I'll just get into the outro now. Once I can clear my throat. Hello, everybody. I feel like I've had to do that so much. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for joining this first official episode of Brain Hugs. I'm hoping to put this on like Spotify and other things. It's gonna go on YouTube first, but I'll figure out all this other stuff. Because I think podcasting, I don't know, as you can tell, I tend to go on tangents and stuff. So I'm like, podcasts are a great format for Amanda Brain. But yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you're doing well. But if not, I hope this video has brightened your day at least a little bit. And I appreciate you all very much. Appreciate you, Elena. Thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, do your best to take care of yourselves. Be nice to yourselves. You are doing your best, and hopefully any of what we've talked about has been helpful. But that will be it for this video, this podcast. Take care of yourselves and each other. Do your best to be a good human, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.
All right, outro done. It's funny doing it with another person here. It's like, oh, now I'm self-conscious.